Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanachari. Yamunatira Vanachari. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai, Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai, Shri Shri Gaura Hari ki jai, Shri Shri Nitai Mayapur Chandra ki jai, Nita Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Jam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajikacharya Stotra Sata Shri Srimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. Nam Acharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Premasagaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Dham ki jai. Ganga Maya Munamaya ki jai. Tulasi Maharani Bhakti Devi ki jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Divine Loving Lordships Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Gaura Hari ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. ISKCON Durban Chatsworth ki jai. Nita Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 18th chapter, texts 9 and 10. Vatsang Kalpaya Me Vira Yenahang Vatsala Tava Dokshe Kshiramayan Kaman Anurupang Cha Dohanam Dogdharang Cha Maha Baho Bhutanang Bhutabhavana Anam Ipsitam Ujasvad Bhagavan Vanchate Yadi Vatsankalpaya Me Vira Yenahang Vatsalatava Tukshikshiramayan Kaman Anurupang Chadohanam Dogdharang Cha Mahabaho Bhutanang Bhutabhavana Anam Ipsitam Ujasvad Bhagavan Vanchate Yadi Vatsam Kalpaya Me Vira Yenahang Vatsalatava Dukshe Kshiramayan Ramayan Kaman Anurupam Chadohanam Dogdharang Cha Mahobaho Bhutanang Bhutabhavana Anam Ipsitam Ujasvad Bhagavan Vanchate Yadi. Prabhus? Vatsankalpaya Me Vira Vatsam, a calf. Kalpaya, arrange. Me, for me. Vira, O hero. Yena, by which. Aham, I. Vatsala, affectionate. Dava, your. Dokshe, shall. Anurupam, did I miss something? Fulfill, sorry. Shall fulfill. Oh, sorry, let's start again. Dokshe, shall fulfill. Kshiramayan, in the form of milk. Kaman, desired necessities. Anurupam, according to different living entities. Ja, also. Dohanam, armed one. Milking pot, sorry. Dogdaram, milkman. Ja, also. Mahabaho, O mighty armed one. Bhutanam, of all living entities. Bhutabhavana, O protector of the living entities. Anam, food grains. Ipsitam, desired. Ujavat, nourishing. Bhagavan, your worshipable self. Vanchate, desires. Yadi, if. Translation and purport by His Divine Loving Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. O great hero, protector of living entities, if you desire to relieve the living entities by supplying them sufficient grain, and if you desire to nourish them by taking milk from me, you should make arrangements to bring a calf suitable for this purpose and a pot in which the milk can be kept, as well as a milkman to do the work. Since I will be very much affectionate toward my calf, your desire to take milk from me will be fulfilled. What time should I stop? 8:30. So we can do the word for word. Then, O great hero, protector of the living entities, if you desire to relieve the living entities by supplying them sufficient grain, and if you desire to nourish them by taking milk from me, you should make arrangements to bring a calf suitable for this purpose and a pot in which the milk can be kept, as well as a milkman to do the work. Since I will be very much affectionate toward my calf, your desire to take milk from me will be fulfilled. These are nice instructions for milking a cow. The cow must first have a calf, so that out of affection for the calf, she will voluntarily give sufficient milk. There must also be an expert milkman and a suitable pot in which to keep the milk. Just as a cow cannot deliver sufficient milk without being affectionate to her calf, the earth cannot produce sufficient necessities without feeling affection for those who are Krishna conscious. Even though the earth's being in the shape of a cow may be taken figuratively, the meaning herein is very explicit. Just as a calf can derive milk from a cow, all living entities, including animals, birds, bees, reptiles, and aquatics, can receive their respective foods from the planet Earth, provided that human beings are not asat or adrita vrata, as we have previously discussed. When human society becomes asat or ungodly or devoid of Krishna consciousness, the entire world suffers. If human beings are well behaved, animals will also receive sufficient food and be happy. the ungodly human being, ignorant of his duty to give protection and food to the animals, kills them to compensate for insufficient production of grains. Thus no one is satisfied, and that is the cause for the present condition in today's world. Om Jnana Timinandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasma Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastha Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Shunyavadi Pastitya Desatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Vanchakalpataribhyascha kripasindhava evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shri Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Shri Gaura Hari ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you so much for joining this morning and giving me this very healing opportunity. I have to say that the Lord is so kind to appear as the Srimad Bhagavatam, as Prasadam, as the holy names, as anything and everything with which to connect with us. And I just felt so healed by learning this text and this purport in my own personal life. So I'm praying for your blessings so that I may be able to say something that is even remotely as inspiring to you as it was to me. So the background is that Mother Bhumi, in the shape of a cow, is addressing Maharaj Prithu, who is the king of the current age of the time this pastime is taking place. And he has a very strong desire to fulfill his duty as a king in providing full protection and nourishment to all the subjects under his rule. And at this time, Mother Bhumi is feeling exploited and uncared for and not affectionate. Not affectionate enough to give sufficient grains in order that everyone be satisfied. So the key word I wanted to extract from the text is Vatsala, which means affectionate. And the purport begins as follows. These are nice instructions for milking a cow. The cow must first have a calf, so that out of affection for the calf she will voluntarily give sufficient milk. There must also be an expert milkman and a suitable pot in which to keep the milk. Just as a cow cannot deliver sufficient milk without being affectionate to her calf, the earth cannot produce sufficient necessities without feeling affection for those who are Krishna conscious. So Mother Bhumi is in fact the consort of Lord Krishna himself in the form of Varahadev. So Varahadev showed great affection to Mother Bhumi when she'd lost her balance due to the disturbances caused by Hiranyaksha, and he lifted her up on his great mighty tusks and he saved the day. So in the same way, Mother Bhumi feels great affection only truly and honestly when the grains, the herbs, the materials that she produces are offered in sacrifice to Krishna. Then she feels complete and happy to give even more. And the particular sacrifice that His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj elucidated on yesterday is the Sankirtan Yuga Dharma for the current age. And when these sacrifices are performed, Mother Bhumi naturally feels very happy, very affectionate, and wants to reciprocate with all the calves or all her children, all the living entities. So in relation to chanting the holy names, as well as this picture that's been drawn of a mother and her calf and affection, interestingly enough, Srila Prabhupada said that one should chant the holy names as if a child were crying for its mother. And he also said that the love a mother feels for her child is the closest that one may be able to experience love of God in this planet. So here we see that Mother Bhumi wants to reciprocate with all her children and nurture them. The purport says further, even though the earth's being in the shape of a cow may be taken figuratively, the meaning herein is very explicit. Just as a calf can derive milk from a cow, all living entities, including animals, birds, bees, reptiles, and aquatics, can receive their respective foods from the planet Earth, provided that human beings are not asat or adritavrata, as we have previously discussed. When human society becomes asat or ungodly or devoid of Krishna consciousness, the entire world suffers. If human beings are well behaved, animals will also receive sufficient food and be happy. The ungodly human being, ignorant of his duty to give protection and food to the animals, kills them to compensate for the insufficient production of grains, and thus no one is satisfied. And that is the cause for the present condition of today's world. So it was relevant at the time of the ruling of Maharaj Prithu, and also today, because we can see that the mood of today's reciprocation between the mass populace and Mother Bhumi is exploitation. I happened to notice yesterday, I went to the ShopRite Checkers and I saw the veggie section and I saw the meat section. It was huge. It was huge. And then in relation to that, what portion of it is sacrificed properly, and I say properly with a pinch of salt, kosher or something. Tiny, tiny. So this great, big, horrendous sacrifice just simply for the sake of the senses, just simply to satisfy the tongue, with no regard for Mother Bhumi, what to speak of Lord Sri Krishna, the supplier of all that we experience. So we have a great duty to propagate the Harinam Sankirtan Yuga Dharma in a powerful and continuous and far-reaching way, so that the general populace has a chance to realize these things, and has a chance to, well, never mind realize these things, but just to perform the Yuga Dharma, so that despite all these atrocities, Mother Bhumi can feel some relief and the Lord can feel satisfied. And naturally, as that golden age of Lord Chaitanya unfolds, the less tasteful ways of living would decrease. And you see that in Cape Town. I noticed that really in Cape Town. You know, Kloof Street is just on top of Long Street, the very famous street in Cape Town. And I just saw the Conscious Kitchen, Prashad Cafe, vegetarian this, that, the other. So people in Kloof Street have clearly been reading Srila Prabhupada's books, extracted a little here and there, you know, not taken the full process, but something. And that something is glorious, because that means that those personalities have made advancement. And so Srila Prabhupada's movement, Lord Chaitanya's Yuga Dharma, is having an impact, and it's wonderful to see. So in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, called The Lord's Pastimes Out of Vrindavan, Lord Krishna discusses at the end of the battle, so this is now going back to the less pleasant side of things, like that great big meat section at ShopRite. It's a burden actually on Mother Bhumi. So in the third canto, when Lord Krishna is the chapter called Lord Krishna's Pastimes Out of Vrindavan, the battle of Kurukshetra has ended, and Lord Krishna comments to the effect of mentioning burdens that have been relieved from Mother Bhumi because the Kuru dynasty has been defeated. Then he goes further to say something quite surprising. He says, and I can think of the exact words, maybe I've got it here. He says that the Yadu dynasty is in fact a heavier burden on Mother Bhumi. And that was shocking to read until you read the purport. And Srila Prabhupada and various acharyas clarify it's actually very sweet. So the purport describes the burden on Mother Bhumi as two options. Either the burden of the beast or the burden of love. So the burden of the beast is when there's something called dharma glani. Dharma glani means when dharma is not being honored or performed. Or the specific words used are the irregular discharge of the Lord's desire is referred to the burden of the beast. The Yadu dynasty, however, were actually being referred to as the burden of love. Much like if a mother carries the heavy child on the lap, it's a burden of love, it's no burden at all. And the purport goes further to say that the burden actually will take place because the Yadu dynasty had an imminent disappearance coming up. And that separation would have been the burden that Mother Bhumi felt. So those were the two different types of burdens mentioned. And we see that with the burden of love, when people are honoring Mother Bhumi's good husband, Lord Shri Krishna, she's very happy to supply and sustain the devotees of Krishna. And a mother's love is unconditional, so one might ask, why then would she withhold if things weren't going according to plan, or if she wasn't feeling happy or sheltered or satisfied? So I wanted to open that up and see if anyone had any ideas why she might withhold if the argument is that a mother's love is unconditional. Actually, Prabhupada said that the mother's love for the child, that love the mother feels is the closest thing to love of Godhead one can experience. Does anyone have any idea why she might withhold? To teach a lesson? Is that what you said? Do you want to say more? Very nice, very nice. Thank you. That is a wonderful point. So Mother Madhura Kadambini says to teach a lesson, because if we just keep taking without giving the proper reciprocation, the proper due respect, then we don't learn the lesson. And as you said that, I'm reminded that in the Shastra, the first guru or teacher is named as Mother. So yes, wonderful. Anyone else? Thank you, that was wonderful. I also thought of, I really appreciated that. I also thought of, did you want to say something, Prabhu? No. I also thought of tough love. Tough love is there because Mother Bhumi is a person and she does have a heart. And I heard a class by His Holiness Bhakti Priyat Bhagavat Maharaj a number of years ago in Cape Town. And I can't do this class justice. The poetic description that he went into about the ways that, well, poetic, but very deep descriptions of how people are approaching Mother Bhumi and what her physical bodily reactions are. And the only one I can remember is he said, honestly speaking, if someone walked up to you with a drill, would you not retract? That's natural. And not only walked up to you with, but kept drilling and kept drilling and kept drilling and kept. Eventually, you're going to have a reaction of pain. And then he said these things are your earthquakes or some kind of reaction, some kind of ouch. Especially when it's not happening with any consciousness of Krishna or God or the Supreme Father. So that's not a very pleasant topic, but there is hope. There is hope. In the 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Krishna says to Uddhava, with the dust of my devotees' lotus feet, I desire to purify the material worlds which are situated within me. So as much as these exploitations are going on, Mother Bhumi is also being massaged by the feet of the devotees as they go on Sankirtan and as they jump and as they dance. This is a very lovely feeling for Mother Bhumi. And so the feet of devotees are never a burden to Mother Bhumi. And in that spirit, we pray, as little children would, try and jump into the gigantic crater of the footprints of Srila Prabhupada land in that footprint and take shelter there, as well as all Srila Prabhupada's dedicated servants. And of course, Srila Prabhupada's feet are not very easy to catch, because they always were moving and still are. And likewise with all the acharyas, constantly moving, constantly preaching. And when Lord Sri Krishna spoke to Uddhava about purifying the material world with the dust of his devotees' feet, I thought, he's so clever, he can accomplish both. So he lets his devotees do that, and then he does it himself as his own devotee in the form of Lord Chaitanya, the beautiful golden complexioned avatar of Kali Yuga, who dances very beautifully, Gaura Nataraj, who dances very beautifully in front of Lord Jagannath and teaches the whole world the beautiful sublime process of dancing in ecstasy and massaging the beautiful body of Mother Bhumi while chanting Lord Krishna's names. What could be a better sacrifice? What could be a more beautiful sacrifice? What could be an easier sacrifice? This is the sacrifice that even a child can do. In Cape Town, we've got a very cute child living. His name's Nitai. And it takes nothing, just like the ha of Hare Krishna. And he's jumping and he's dancing and he's chanting and his hands are raised. So this is the sacrifice that even a child can do. So I wanted to end with a prayer. Because oftentimes we can do our sacrifices, namely Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan, Harinam, and in my own practice I really feel most of the time it's so mechanical. It's so mechanical, and the key word in this verse is vatsala, is affection. When the mother feels affection for the calf, when the mother cow feels affection for the calf, then she gives profusely. And so these sort of mechanical, ritualistic chantings, I'm praying, that they become very deep and very affectionate and very constant and very realized and very real for all of us, just like a child crying for the love of its mother, filled and saturated with real, deep, heartfelt affection. So hopefully we get a chance to dive into that this weekend with the upcoming Japa retreat and just going forward as well. If Sri Radha Radhanath and Lord Gauranga and Nityananda and Srila Prabhupada and Giri Govardhan will bless us with that, even a drop of it, how grateful would we be so that we can offer that sacrifice to Mother Bhumi and to Lord Shri Krishna and to our spiritual masters. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Any questions, comments, additions, subtractions, reflections, criticisms, corrections?
Hare Krishna. So I like the point that you were speaking about as an affectionate mother. I was just thinking like how Mother Bhumi you think would feel about, yes, she's very affectionate to the devotees doing Sankirtan Yagya, but what about like people that are not necessarily following the devotional path, but they are at least conscious of the earth and are now making that effort to protect her and to not exploit her, and you know, and they are trying. Maybe they're not doing it necessarily for Krishna, but they're doing it for, you know, Mother Bhumi. So what do you think how she would feel towards them?
At the moment, we're generally taking the dust of all their lotus feet, because 99% of our spiritual masters come from the hippie movement of the 60s. And they were all about flower power, put a flower in your hair, hugging trees, love, 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 hugging trees, showing love for Mother Bhumi, protesting against war and destruction and exploitation. an inclination to vegetarianism, knowing that these things are not pleasing. Just like you say, at that point, they didn't know who it's not pleasing to, or they didn't know, maybe they weren't thinking too far where the tree comes from, or, but that general mode of loving Mother Bhumi was there. And so, how did Lord Krishna reciprocate? When this movement, this whole movement was so protective of his wife, he sent his own Srila Prabhupada to fill in all the gaps and give them the full experience, to reveal himself to them. So yeah, we should definitely have deep respect for those people and pray very deeply that they get that full experience. Yeah.
So thinking like how we can sometimes attract those kinds of people to devotional service, because like, for example, before I came to Krishna consciousness, I was also like all about saving the animals and the wildlife, and I was vegan and very conscious, especially about animal lives. And there are a lot of people out there that are like that, wanting to try save the animals and stuff. But like when I came into Krishna consciousness, obviously it wasn't like vegan, and we weren't really focusing on saying other living entities too much. So I kind of felt that that part of me was not able to be expressed, or I don't know what the word is. But then how can we like try attract other people that are also focused on, animal protection, earth protection, and all of that?
I can only speak about a pipe dream, something I've never personally acted on, so I don't like to speak beyond what I've acted on or realized or anything like that, but I have a feeling that because veganism is at the moment, I'm not sure about Durban, but in Cape Town it's the buzzword. There's entire vegan menus or vegan restaurants, and it's really a thing. I mean, to have so many restaurants means there's a demand. And veganism is admirable. It's a step in the right direction. But I tell you, if someone out there were to create a brand called Ahimsa and do it from start to finish, happy cows, really, really happy cows, and that brand were to take off, and you can go so far with that. You can adopt a cow, you can look after a cow, you can live your life, but you can take care of a cow, and that those needs would be so satisfied for those people in those ways, those people with those inclinations. And it's really a brand. Can you see it? Like vegan is a brand now. It's like a lifestyle. Haribol, yeah.
They're advertising it, and now they want to actually start selling it to most of the temples, called Haribol, and it's a dairy products, ahimsa, ghee, especially for at least the deities, and yeah. So I mean, it would be nice if that could also like spread beyond the temples.
Yeah, and what does it take? It takes. I mean, we can't. It'll take a while for it to reach from Mayapur to here, but this we can. I can't say we, because I don't know if I will, because, but if you have that desire in your heart, then you draw up a brand called Ahimsa, and just draw it up, Ahimsa. It's a brand, right? It goes on a bottle, it goes on the milk bottle, it's called Ahimsa. It goes on the milk bottle, and you adopt one cow and you take it from there. I don't know what the block is, but we've got to do it. It's quite essential. Prabhupada said, I've left you half the work to do. I've set up some things, but he wants that. He wants us to live on the land and set the example for mankind, because we're living unsustainably now. One riot and it's a catastrophe. One tornado and it's difficult. But if everyone's got land, it's a little easier, right? You just rely on ShopRite. It's tumultuous. So then, how to attract those people? I don't know again about Durban, but in Cape Town, permaculture it's a thing. There are so many permaculture movements. I'm personally connected to one that I can even connect you to. Maybe they've got Durban connections. Those are people who want to work with the land. They want to grow food, even in urban spaces. It's a big thing now. Rooftop gardens. So even in urban spaces, as well as sort of outside of the city. So you connect with those kind of people. There must be some around here in this side of the world. Cook a nice feast. You bring them and you learn from them and you teach them. So you learn the farming from them and you teach them some kirtan and things that they might appreciate. You have an exchange program. And you build networks like that. Build networks with permaculture. They'll grow things very sustainably. And they were already doing it. And then you eventually add your cow and your ahimsa, So it's very possible. But research the permaculture culture of Durban and see. Yeah. Anybody else? Thank you very much, Madhurya. Anyone? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Mother Bhumi Devi ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrindi ki jai, Nita Gopremanande Hari Bol.